So I'm just give me a second here because I'm trying to broadcast it to YouTube today because Facebook is not working. And I need to give the link to people who join us on the Facebook. So
No problem.
all the well-made plans of human beings are dashed in front of Krishna's plans. Oh, Hare Krishna, Varshana Mataji, Dandar Pranam. So I'll go to Facebook. You can go live on Facebook, and then we come up over here. So I'm just give me a second here because I'm trying to broadcast it to YouTube today because Facebook is not working. What about that? What do you say about this? That things come back to you. All right. Let me put the YouTube link here. Okay. Gita. I don't know how I'll see comments, etc. But anyway, let me just post it to Facebook. Okay, here it's coming. Chill. I need to just switch off the voice here. Gita. Okay, I don't know how I'll see. Here we go. Okay, now this is good. I'll be able to see the comments also from them. Okay, here we go. So let me see who else is there here. Khyati Mataji is here and she's connecting to the audio. Awesome. Hare Krishna, Khyati Mataji. I'm just trying to see how I can manage the best of the both worlds. Okay. Sorry about that. It happens every day almost. So we have Khyati Mataji, Sutapa Mataji, Varshana Mataji, and Preeti Radhika. And in the order we are showing up, well, Sutapa came first, and then Preeti, and then Varshana, and then we have Khyati Mataji. So without much ado, we will get started. We'll get going on this. Om Agyan Timarandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So I promised that we will go through the prayers, the Pancham Vigyapti prayers. So for that, I sent it out to you, but I don't know how many of you have got a spare computer and whether you can do Zoom and also bring up your PDF at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen with you, and I'm going to bring up these prayers, the Vigyapti Panchaka. So these are 5 prayers. And if you can confirm that you're able to see these prayers, then that'll help me.
Hare Krishna Ma, you asked us to remind you for the dhwani in the background.
Ah, thank you so much. See, it helps to delegate, isn't it? So when you don't have skills yourself. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay. Can you see that? Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. All right. Here we go. So Vigyapti Panchaka. So here's what I was just thinking, that we will we'll just recite all of the Sanskrit and then we'll go into the English translations. That sounds okay?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, perfect. So Vigyapti Panchaka, 5 verses. The first 2 verses are from Padma Purana. So a little bit about Vigyapti Panchaka and why we are picking up these prayers, right? Why do you have to memorize these prayers, right? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had told Sanatana Goswami that you document and come up with a document that has got how a Vaishnava should behave, right? What is devotional service and how do you do deity worship and things like that. So in the process of, defining how a Vaishnava behaves, then, and what is his day-to-day behavior, then it covers everything from, how do you take a shower, how do you put on tilak, why do you put on tilak, and so on and so forth. And of course, a devotee spends his time doing prayer. So then the worship of the Lord. So there's an elaborate description of deity worship there as well. So Sanatana Goswami came up, so there's a book called Hari Bhakti Vilas by Sanatana Goswami. And There's among the 6 Goswamis, there's also Gopal Bhatt Goswami. And Gopal Bhatt Goswami was a very young boy, but he helped Sanatana Goswami. He contributed to that book, And so what Sanatana Goswami did was that he dedicated the Hari Bhakti Vilas to him. And so sometimes you find that Hari Bhakti Vilas has been written by Gopal Bhatt Goswami. So that way, right? But we need to understand. And what this thing about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asking Sanatana Goswami to write this, it comes as part of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, so it's mentioned over there. So what he did was then he created this Hari Bhakti Vilas, and it's a huge book. It's very detailed. And remember, this was being written 500 years ago, where life was very different. In our own lifestyle, we have noticed that it's so difficult for us to, follow whatever we were doing, say, 30 years ago, like in your lives. Right? We had more time. Now we have less time. Things are complicated. You don't get all the material also that is required to elaborate worship and things like that. So then Prabhupada had asked, his disciples to kind of have a shorter version of that. And that is known as the Archana Paddhati. So Archana Paddhati is what is followed in the ISKCON temples as well. So you will find that as part of doing worship to Radha Krishna, there are a whole bunch of verses that they ask us to recite, and the Vigyapti Panchak is one of them, one of such sets here. Now, so it has got verses from various sources, and like I was saying last time when I brought this up during the Saturday Bhakti Viz class, I had said that, I don't know what the source of this is, but I'll find that out. So I've been doing a little bit of research to see where it is. Of course, if you go to Archana Paddhati, then everything is there in the Archana Paddhati. So we can always say that the source of this is Archana Paddhati, and which is an okay thing to do. And that is where the concept of disciplic succession comes into picture. So sometimes you will find that Prabhupada is quoting verses or a line from some scripture, and you don't know. You can go and do a Google, you can find out, you can ask other seniors and things like that. But it can happen that sometimes, even your seniors might not know that, right? Like Harim Vina Na Mrityum Taranti. So, so in that case, we just follow through and take advantage of the fact that we learn through the disciplic succession. So if Prabhupada is using a particular verse, then we don't question that. And we don't, say, okay, fine, I'm not going to spend my cycles trying to find the sources. What is the exact source of that? Because that verse is coming to me through the disciplic succession. Right? And we will see that in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad-gita also, where Krishna is talking about the disciplic succession there as well. Right? So if stuff is available, you can find out. I mean, Padma Puran is like, when I was looking at the set of books of Padma Puran, it looked as huge as a Srimad Bhagavatam, like that. And Prabhupada quotes a lot of verses from Padma Puran. So the first 2 verses from the Vigyapti Panchaka are actually from the Padma Puran. And then the 3rd verse is from the Skanda Puran. And for the 4th and the 5th verse, I didn't see, where it is. So I'm just relying on the disciplic succession that they are in the Archana Paddhati. How did they get into the Archana Paddhati? Is it because Sanatana Goswami picked up a verse which was prevalent maybe in the Vedas or some other place? Did Sanatana Goswami himself compose that particular verse? Or is it something that Gopal Bhatt Goswami added there? So we don't know. But as long as we know that this is coming from the Archana Paddhati, which Prabhupada had asked his disciples to write, then it is a bona fide source, right? So we should be looking for bona fide sources. We just don't go and sing anything, and which anybody is singing, because the consciousness of the creator gets into the verses as well, right? And that's why we come across like milk touched by a serpent should not be taken, right? So similarly, verses which are recited by others of whom you do not know the background are to be avoided. So we kind of just stay within our parampara, within our acharya. There are so many beautiful prayers, there are so many beautiful bhajans, there are so many beautiful kirtans, there are so many beautiful tunes, etc., that we just stay with them, so that we so that we can enter into the mood of our previous acharyas, like that. Okay. So having said that, we'll just get into this and we can all start reciting together. Matsamo nasti papatma na paradhi cha kaschana. Or maybe call and respond might be good, right? So I will read one line and then you can go and you can go and read the next. Okay, go ahead.
Matsamo nasti papatma na paradhi cha kakshana
Parihare pilajya me kim bhuve purushottama.
Parihare pi lajja me
Hame
किं
Kim
bhuve purushottama.
Yuvatinam yatha yuni yunam cha yuvato yatha manobhi ramate tadvan mano me ramatam tvai.
Yubhitanam
युवतीनां यथा
yathayene
यूनां
yonam
भवतो
chayavata yatha
मनो
mano viramati
विरमते
tadvan
तद्वान्
Mano
mano me ramatam tvaya
Tvai.
tvai.
Okay. Bhumau skhalita padanam bhumirevabalambanam.
Bhuma shalita padanam bhumir eva balam balam param.
Bhumir eva valambanam.
एवावलम्ब
Evalambanam
Dvai jata paradhanam.
Tvai Jata
Jata
Paradhanam
paradhanam
Tvameva sharanam prabhu.
तं
Tvam Eva
शरणं
Sharanam
Prabhu.
Prabhu
Govinda vallabhe radhe.
Govinda Vallabhe
Vallabhe
Radhe
Radhe
Prarthaye tvam aham sada.
Radhaye
Pradhaye
Tvam
Tam
Aham
Aham Sada
Sada
Tvadiyam iti janatu.
Tvadiyam Iti
Tvadiyam Iti
Janatu
Janatu
Govindo mam tvaya saha.
Govindo
Govindo
Mam Taya Shaya
Saha
Radhe vrindavanadhishe.
Radhe Vrindavanadhishe
Vrindavanadhishe
Karunamrita vahini.
Karunamrita
Karunamrita
Vahini
Vahini
Kripaya nija padabja.
Kripaya
Kripaya Nija Padabja
Dasyam mayam pradíyatam.
Dasamayam
Dasyamayam
Pradiyatam
So then we will go
Pradiyatam.
in now, starting with Sutapa, Preeti, then Varshana Mataji and Khyati Mataji. So we have four and we have got four translations here. So why don't you each read one translation? Okay, go ahead. Sutapa Mataji.
O Purushottama, no sinner or offender is as bad as I am. How can I describe my shame? Just as the minds of young ladies take pleasure in a young man, and the minds of a young man take pleasure in a young woman, kindly let me mind take pleasure in you alone.
Just as the ground is the only support for those whose feet have slipped, you alone are the only shelter for those who have offended you.
O Shrimati Radharani, beloved of Lord Govinda, this is my request. May you and Lord Govinda consider me one of your assistants.
O Srimati Radharani, O Queen of Vrindavan, you are a river flowing with the nectar of mercy. Please be kind to me and give me a little service at your lotus feet.
All right, good. So we submitted our resume today for a job with Radharani. Okay, good. So we will do that every morning. Okay, and it by and by it'll come to you. Like we will memorize that. Okay, so which verse are we reading today?
114.
14. How do you like that? We have been doing this for a week now, this means, is it?
Yes,
2 weeks.
Mataji. 2
Yes,
weeks.
both are
2 weeks now, huh? Where did the 2 weeks go?
We
How
started
many?
on 25th of March.
We started 25th of March? Awesome. Okay. And we are joined by Shraddha-devi Dasi on YouTube. That's awesome. And so let's see. And Rohit Prabhu is also watching it. Wonderful. Welcome to the call. And both of you can post your comments, etc. on post them, I don't know where. You can post them wherever you're watching, the YouTube or Facebook. Because I pasted the YouTube link on Facebook. So let's see. Am I sharing my screen? And whose turn is it to read now?
Yours, Mataji.
My turn? All
Yeah.
right. Okay. And can you all see observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra?
Yes, ma'am.
yes.
Okay. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjay, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the pace of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? Sanjay said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhan went to his teacher and spoke the following words.
Mataji, you might want to increase the font size. of the version.
Thank you for reminding me. Please, can you take on that job?
Yes, sure.
Every day remind me, please, till I get it.
Yes,
Okay.
Mother. O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. Here is the army are many heroic bowmen, equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna, great fighters like Yudhana, Virata, and Drupada.
There are also great, heroic, powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chekitana, Kashiraj, Purujit, Kunti Bhoj, and Sabya. There are the mighty Yudhamanyu the very powerful Uttamoja, the son of Subhadra, and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters.
But
Text
for
7.
go ahead, Vashan. Sorry.
Mataji, please, you carry on. I'll take
No,
the
no, it
next.
is your turn, Mataji.
Yes. But for your information, O best of Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are specially qualified to lead my military force. There are personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwasthama, Vikrana, and the son of Somadatta called a Bhurishwara, who are always victorious in battle. Hare Krishna.
Okay. What's the son of Somadatta called?
Bhurishwara.
Bhuri Shra.
Shrava.
Shrava. Right? Cut. Okay, cut it into pieces, then it'll come easier.
Bhurishwara.
There are many other heroes who prepared to lay down their life for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapon, and all are experienced in military science. Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhim, is limited.
All of you must now give full support to Grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhan joy.
After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a grand chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells.
Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya, Arjun blew his, the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Pondra. King Yudhishthir, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Ananta Vijaya, and Nakul and Sahadev blew the Sughosha and Mani Pushpaka. The great archer, the king of Kashi, the great fighter Shikhandi, Drishtadyumna, Virata, the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupad, the sons of Draupadi, and others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells.
Text 19. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words. Hare Krishna.
Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight, and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra.
Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, Just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here.
Then Arjuna could see, within the midst of the armies of both parties, his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his father in laws and well wishers. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus.
Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning.
Text 30. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in the battle, nor can
Text 30,
I, my dear.
31. Sorry to interrupt. You missed text 30. I'm unable to
I
stand.
am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself, and my mind is reeling. I see only cause of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in the battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. Hare Krishna.
Let me scroll.
O Govinda, of what avail to us are kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers in law, grandsons, brothers in law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in the exchange for the three worlds. Let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen?
O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion.
When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted. And from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performance for offering them food and water are entirely stopped.
By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell.
Text 44. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts. Driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness, we are intent on killing our own kinsmen. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield. Hare Krishna.
Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we did it, one chapter. It just struck me here that what I was talking about a little while ago about, relying on information coming from the disciplic succession and not creating things on your own. You notice that here also Arjuna is saying, "O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard from disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell." So he's not saying that I think and things like that, right? He's just saying, Sushurma. He's in the Sanskrit, he says that. So he has heard from others. Okay, so let's go into our verse for today, which is number 14. So can somebody summarize that? What has been happening for the past 3 days?
They are preparing for the war, and both parties have the doubts whether there will be any victory or not.
So why do you say both parties have the doubt?
Because Mataji, Duryodhan, in spite of having so many fighters, still he did not know whether he will win or not. And Arjuna was not confident about that, about the war, whether he should go ahead or not, and then they will win or not, both, because the Kauravas had a very big soldiers with them. So Arjuna was also not sure about that victory.
Yeah, but have you read about that part yet about Arjuna?
No, Mataji, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, yeah. So my question was more pertaining to what we have done so far. So far, what you said was good. That Duryodhan was having doubts, right? And then what happened recently in the past few verses? What happened?
Everybody is moving to action mode. That is, they're sounding their conch shell. All the musical instruments are sounded, and Duryodhan was telling that he's putting his faith in Bhishma, and Bhishma, trying to make him happy, sounded the conch shell really loudly to give him joy.
Good. And then
other instruments were also sounded to prepare everyone to become in the mode of action.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So now I'm just trying to see if there are any comments here. So Rohit and Vidyavadhu, you can post your comments either on YouTube if you're watching there, or on Facebook, from wherever you're watching, most likely YouTube. So yes, and so this if Bhagavad-gita was a novel, right, or story, who's the hero of the story? Krishna, right? And there's one more hero?
Arjuna.
Right? So we have Krishna and Arjuna, they're the heroes of the story. And a few, when we were reading all this, I was telling that this is my favorite verse from the first chapter, Tatta Svetir Hayer Yukte, this one, right? So let's go inside and let's see what is there.
Shraddha, it's your turn, I think. It's your turn.
My turn?
Yes.
Is it? How come I land up like that every day?
We are doing some planning, Mataji.
Krishna is doing some planning.
Yeah, that's why you arrive at a particular time, right? In the class.
Yes.
So that okay. Tata Shveter Hayer Yukte Mahati Syandane Sthitau Madhavaha Pandavaschaiva Divya Shankhau Pradatmatuhu.
Tatha, thereafter, Shwate, with white, higher horses, yukte, being yuked, Mahati, in a great, Shwandena, chariot, Stitau, situated, Madhava, Krishna, the husband of the goddess of fortune, Pandava, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, Cha, also, Eva, certainly, Divayu, transcendental, Shankau, conchals, Padma, Pradat Matho, sounded.
Sounded good. Yeah, I could see you breaking the last word into pieces and getting it. So that's how you should go. What is a chariot called in Sanskrit?
Ratha.
Yeah.
Kyandane.
Siandane. Yes, for 20 points. Piti Radhika collects that today. Siandane. Mahati Siandane Statu, right? So this verse is about the Siandane. They are talking about two things, right? They're talking about the chariot, Siandane, and then
Conch shells,
conch
Mataji?
shells. Exactly right, for 50 points, right? So you go. So they're talking about conch shells and they're talking about chariot. All right. Translation coming up.
On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjun, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells.
Purport. In contrast with the conch shell blown by Bhishmate, the conch shells in the hands of Krishna and Arjuna are described as transcendental. The sounding of the transcendental conch shells indicated that there was no hope of victory for the other side because Krishna was on the side of the Pandavas. Jayastu Pandu Putranam Yesham Pakshe Janardana. Victory is always with the person unlike the sons of Pandu because Lord Krishna is associated with them. And whenever and wherever the Lord is present, the goddess of fortune is also there because the goddess of fortune never lives alone without her husband. Therefore, a victory and fortune were awaiting Arjuna, as indicated by the transcendental sound of the sound produced by the conscience of Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Beside that, the chariot on which both the friends were seated had been donated by Agni, the fire god, to Arjuna, and this indicated that this chariot was capable of conquering all sides wherever it was drawn over the three worlds. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so time for us for reflections.
So for me, it really stood out that Srila Prabhupada pointed out that the conch shells of Krishna and Arjuna were used by adjective transcendental. So he's saying that it was transcendental. That's why victory was theirs.
Yes.
And when Lord Krishna, he was present there, so the victory and the fortune, it was just confirmed for Pandavas because because the goddess of fortune will be coming with Krishna, so they had both the things confirmed, that victory and fortune.
Okay. What else?
I didn't know that the Rath was given by Agni Dev. So that was something that I learned new.
Very good.
And
You got value for money, for the fee you paid to get into this class.
that we always get, Mataji.
Yeah.
I can't.
Mataji,
Yeah.
sorry. No, Mataji, there is a last line that whenever it was drawn over the three walls, what does that they are telling here, that three walls, and whether it was drawn from the beginning means previously or?
So anybody wants to tell that that what does it mean? What does it mean when we say three worlds? Right, we use that term a lot. So thanks for
Dur-
catching that.
So earth, heaven, and Rasata,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
lower
What?
planetary elements, the middle, and the higher.
Right. So Sutapa, right now we are on the planet Earth, right? And
Yes.
this universe is created of billions and billions of planets. And these planets are actually arranged in systems. For example, you have a dinner plate in your house, right? But then you have a dinner set which has 6 such plates inside it. Okay. So
Mhm.
similarly here also we have got planets, and then we have got planetary systems, which in themselves are huge. And our Earth planet will belong to a planetary system. And so these planetary systems are characterized by certain um, features. They'll have certain features, and a certain type of people will go to those planetary systems. So you can't just go from one planet to another planet. You need to have certain qualifications to go there. For example, Prabhupada mentions that Ravana tried to build a staircase from the earth to the heavens. And he was saying that, why should you do devotional service or religious activities and things like that? I'll create a staircase for you, and then you can just walk up like that. But that staircase never got built, because that's not the qualification that is required. That how strong are your legs? If your legs are strong, or somebody is willing to carry you on the staircase, then you'll reach heaven. It's not like that. We have this story about Trishanku, right? Trishanku, who was pushed, who wanted to go to heavens in his own body. You can't go to heaven in heavenly planets with this material body. You need a different material body to go there. And but Vishwamitra said, okay, for my powers, I will, for my mystic powers, I will push you. So he started pushing him up, but then Indra pushed him down. So that's why we have the Chanku hanging in between, right? Like that. So we need to have certain qualifications to be able to reach these planetary systems. And so we have in this Brahman, in this universe that we are living, we have got 14 such planetary systems. And these 14 planetary systems are then also divided into 3 major, sections. And so they are called the middle planetary systems, the upper planetary systems, and the lower planetary systems, right? So we are in the middle planetary systems. The higher you go, there'll be certain characteristics that will start manifesting. For example, the higher that you go in the material planetary system, the less earth will be there in your material body, right? So material body is made up of Panchbhutas, right? Earth. Can somebody give me the Panchbhutas?
Earth, air,
Agni.
water, ether, fire.
And fire, right? So as you go up, the earth. So which is the heaviest of that? All the 5.
Earth.
Earth, right? Which is the most visible of the 5?
Fire.
Earth.
Fire, right? So if I make a body out of air, will you be able to see it?
No.
No.
No, Mataji.
Right? So you see, if there are invisible beings, it could be that they have a body, they have a gross body, we just can't see it because it's made of air, like that. So so as you go up, the body becomes more subtle, like there'll be less portion of earth and there'll be more portion of air in the body, like that. So, or there'll be more portion of fire in the body. That's why you'll see that, all these devtas, etc., they say that devta came and he was glowing, he was effulgent. So from where is that effulgent coming? Because they have more fire content in their body, like that. So the planetary systems are the 3 upper, lower, and then of course, as you move towards the lower planetary systems, you get your bodies are heavy, they're more heavy, right? And on the higher planetary system, the consciousness of the soul, in the embodied soul or the conditioned soul in these planetary systems, is also different. As you go up on the higher planetary systems, the bodies are more beautiful, you live a longer life, you have got more facilities to do devotional service, and some of them do that. But there's also a chance, because of the unlimited, or a huge amount of opulence there, that there's a chance that you might just indulge in sense gratification even more there in the higher planetary system. The consciousness in the lower planetary systems is less. It doesn't mean that you are that you are poor in the lower planetary systems. Can you give me the example of somebody who was very rich and in the lower planetary system?
Bali
Bali
Maharaj.
Maharaj.
Bali Maharaj, there you go, right? So, but then in the lower planetary system, the consciousness is like that you will not you are atheist. You see, you will have atheistic tendency. So you will, and the tendency is to enjoy this material world. So if you have this tendency to enjoy the material world and without God, then you will be sent to, but you have done some work, karam kandi activities you did sometime. So you want to enjoy that. So you'll be sent to those planetary systems, right? You'll be born in a planet in one of those lower planetary systems like that. So then the question comes, and I think I forgot to mention, I got carried away yesterday in my conversation. I had asked you this question that that this was a war, right? This war is starting, and I was saying that war is like a sport, and there's a lot that is at stake. But look at these Kshatriyas, they're all like, oh yeah, I'm also going to blow my conch shell. War has started. They're so happy with that. And we were talking about, so they don't have much to worry about, because I mean, if there's like, look at the world situation right now, right? There's no food in the sense that, in plenty and abundance as we are accustomed to here, right? Even if you have the money, you go to buy something, it's not on the shelf, right? Or you go to Amazon, it says 21 days delivery, like that. So, but the warriors are like, so you can imagine that, when you are fighting a war, what's going to happen to the food, right? And these days you see that people are there, they're fighting on tanks and things like that. They might go for 24 hours without food at all. They've got to forget about drinking water. There's no water there. They fight in very horrible conditions. But in those days when the fights were happening, people would fight. And then in the evening, for them, it was kind of like a sport, because in the evening, they would just mingle with each other. They will, go to this person's tent, that person's tent, and they'll enjoy like that. So from where is all the food coming? Food was arranged for them. It's not like here that, and we see not only for them, food was arranged even for the animals. Like there's a lot of chariots going on, which means there's a lot of horses there, right? The horses need water. And we come across that very fine story of how Arjun uses one of his arrows, and then he's able to get water out of the earth so that his horses can drink and things like that. So they were very well taken care of. And then if a person even died, then it was like, why should I worry about dying? Because I will go to heaven. And then we talked about yesterday that, why do they go to the heaven? Okay, we can understand a person is on the sides of Pandavas, his side of the righteous, so he gets to go to a better material planet still. But what about those who are on the wrong side? Do they go to the heavenly planets? Yes, they go to the heavenly planets. Yes. And then we discussed and we said, well, you know what, they were they were fighting, they were doing their duty, and they were fighting on Dharmshet Kurukshetra, so they will go to heavenly planets, right? So now one thing to keep in mind, which I didn't say yesterday, was that these heavenly planets also have got grades, It's not that there's one set of standard heavenly planet. The grades in the heavenly planets also. So those who are on the right side, they go to a better heavenly planet. Those who are on the wrong side, they do go to a heavenly planet, but they'll go to a less, opulent and less like that heavenly planet system there. And then Prabhupada also many times uses the term hellish planets, So I always thought that hellish planets will be, I'll be sent to Patal Lok. I'll be sent to a lower planet system, because I was thinking of the concept of lower and higher as also like, physically they are lower and physically they are higher. So higher and lower planets we're not talking about the physical. We are talking about the consciousness as to whether the consciousness is high and elevated, which means you think about God more, or whether the consciousness is lower, which is that of an animal and all that you think is eating, sleeping, mating, and defending like that, right? So the higher and lower planetary systems are like that. They're not necessarily positioned higher and lower within the Brahman, right? And then when it comes to the hellish planets, so hellish planets, yes, their things are bad, but it doesn't mean that hellish planets are the lower planetary system. The Patal Lok is at the lowest, and because my question was that, if this is the hellish planets are the lower planets are the hellish planets, then how come Bali Maharaj is enjoying so much, right? He's so opulent, beautiful, like that. So the thing is that the hellish planets are planets, right? They are planets which are meant for punishing you. These are planets that are planned for punishing you. You'll get a suitable body, right? And where you will undergo your karmic reactions. And the idea of giving punishment, why do you think there is this concept of punishment? Why did Krishna come up with this cruel thing of punishment?
So that they can get back to, after atonement, get back to correcting themselves and get to do a human form.
Yes. Yes, they can get back, they can get back, and they can realize from the sufferings that they undergo there, that I should not repeat it. I should not repeat it.
Yeah.
Right? That's why sometimes we punish the kids or we punish the criminals and things like that. So the hellish planets are planets where you'll be sent for, and then again, there are different grades of hellish planets. You must have imagined that, right? Depending on the kind of things you did, you will be sent to an appropriate, like, even in the prison over here, there are different grades of prison, right?
Mhm.
The different grades of prison. The prison can be for, if you're the higher the or more heinous crime that you have done, you will be sent into a suitable portion or section of the prison. Some of the prisons can't even handle. Some of the prisons are more for, okay, you did small things, so they can just handle that. But the big time offenders, they can't handle. Like in India, they were like in Delhi, where I was like, okay, you'll be sent to Tihar jail. The Tihar jail is where the worst of the criminals were staying, like that. So similarly, there are different kinds of hellish planets also, where according to what you did. So you think that not following the regulative principles is a sin,
Yes, Mataji.
right?
Yeah, Yudhikavana.
So according to that also, there are many hellish planets there. And it was very interesting. Vrindavan Priya Prabhu, who's an expert in all these planetary systems, which are described in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he gave us a very nice series of seminars, there were 4 or 5 seminars. He's also got a video tube channel where he talks more about that. And a YouTube channel. And he actually mentioned, he asked us this question that, so if a planetary system is meant for punishing you because of some of the offenses that you did. For example, I'm too proud. Okay, so I'll be sent into a planetary system where nobody gives me respect, nobody listens to me. So it'll be good for me, like that. So he asked us that, if you're going by, okay, how many planets should I have to handle anger? How many planets should I have to handle greed? How many planets should I have to handle this and that? And then he said, so which one do you think is the most in number? For which particular, bad thing that we have? Which particular anartha that we have the maximum number of planets? Can you guess which one it is?
Being inattentive while chanting,
Paying attention.
not paying attention.
Out of lust, anger, greed, all that kind of stuff,
Oh,
the 6
okay.
enemies of mind.
Lust.
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 Yeah,
Lust is a winner. Is lust a winner? Everybody's lusting for lust. Okay. No, I was surprised because I was also the one who said lust. After reading all the things about lust in these scriptures, I was like, lust, lust, lust. He said, no,
Yeah.
it is anger. It is
Oh.
anger. Yeah. It was anger. I was very surprised. And I said, wow, yeah. So anyway, so about these 3 planets, so the 3 planetary systems are there. And because this chariot was a special chariot that it could go in any of the directions, which means that it can go to the north, it can go to the south, it can go to the east, it can go to the west, and it can also go to the zenith. It can go up and it can go down also nearer. So this chariot can go to other planetary systems also, up and down. By up and down, that's what it means, right? I mean, here, if you're driving a car, how you can go take the car in the left, right, like that, right? But you can't take a car in the upward direction. You have to be in a different kind of a you have to be in a different kind of a vehicle, right? If you want to go up, then you take an aeroplane. If you want to really get out of this atmosphere, you take a rocket, like that, right? So that was like that. And then one of you had pointed out that that I think it was Kathy Mata. She said, I didn't know that it was Agni who had given this wrath. And there's a very interesting story over here that that when once Arjuna and Krishna were out there and close to the Khanda one, which later on became Indraprastha. So they were sitting there and they were talking about how do we make Indraprastha. Then suddenly they see a very effulgent Brahmin comes, and he comes to them. He's very beautiful. And he says that they give the respect to the Brahmin, and they ask him, like, so who are you and what can we do for you? So then he says that I am Agni, the demigod. And he says, I'm very hungry, and this Khanda one, I want to eat this Khanda one. But the problem is that Indra is not allowing me to do that. So you can imagine, how will Agni eat anything? How does fire eat anything? that thing gets set on fire, right? That's how he eats it.
Mm.
And what does Indra do?
Puts
The
fire.
rain.
Indra is in
rain.
charge of the rain, right? Indra is in charge of the rain. So Indra's friend, the Takshak snake, used to live there, and in that particular fire, in that particular forest. So Indra didn't want Agni to eat that forest, because then his friend would be killed, right? If the Agni is going to demolish, then it's going to demolish everything, including all the animals, etc. Everything which is there will be eaten. Plants, trees, everything will be eaten by Agni. So Indra was not allowing to do that. So he's pouring rain constantly over there, and Agni is getting very, very hungry on that. And then he's saying so is it, but why is it, what kind of a hunger is that? Why do you want to eat this? He said, actually, the reality is that there are certain herbs here in this forest, and I want to eat those herbs. And because I had got some indigestion. So why did you get indigestion? Well, some other rishi did a huge yajna and he poured so much of ghee that now I've got indigestion from the ghee. It was an eye opener for me. This story. It was like, oh my goodness, we just keep pouring ghee. And I was like, oh, sometimes what happens when you're cooking and you remove the skillet from the fire, and if you have like you're making parathas and you had the ladle with the ghee in it and you move the skillet, then some of the ghee drops onto the fire, and then immediately the fire takes over. Like, oh my goodness, that is Agni eating ghee. Yeah, so he said, I've got some indigestion, so I want to do that. So then Arjuna says that, well, you're asking me to fight Indra, who's the king of the heavens. And so Agni says that, give it to me as dakshana, like Brahman want dakshana, right? So give it to me as dakshana. I will give this, the fact that, I will be able to eat this kind of one. So then he says that, okay, I will do that, but I will need the suitable things to be able to do that. So give me a chariot, I don't have anything right now. Give me a chariot that I can, sit on, and then I can fight, because Arjuna is a charioteer, right? He sits on a chariot and fights, Maharati. So then Agni says, okay, I'll do that. So then Agni calls his friend Varun, right? Varun is the king of the oceans, right? So he calls Varun and he says that, the Varun comes and says, okay, Agni, tell me, what am I supposed to do? So he says, well, in the bottom of the ocean, there is a chariot. And so you please bring the chariot to me. And Arjun told him that also I will need suitable bow, right? To be able to fight Indra. And then he says that, okay, so get me that. So then he goes down and he brings the bow and arrow. Are you going to guess what's the name of that bow?
Gandhi.
Gandiva.
Gandiva, right? So that's how the Gandiva comes. And then so that Gandiva has got quivers, from where you take out the arrows.
Yeah.
So those quivers are inexhaustible. The arrows will never finish.
Oh.
So as soon as he keeps taking them out, so it'll come. So he gets that. Arjuna is amazed, like, imagine he's an archer and you give him a Gandiva, and the Gandiva was as tall as a human being. So it was really big, and then he does that. And so he's very happy with that. And then the chariot appears. It was a very effulgent chariot. And that's why here they are saying, Mahati Syandane Sithau. Mahati. It's great. It's a grand chariot. In the verse today, they're saying that. Right, so this chariot was very effulgent, and it had tata shveter hayer yukte. So there were white horses. So there were 4 white horses that were drawing them. So when you get a chariot, when somebody gives you, and of course Agni gives that chariot and the Gandiva to Arjuna. So when you give somebody a chariot, it's not just the chariot that you give them the horses also. The horses are part and parcel of a chariot, right? What's the equivalent of chariot here in this material world nowadays?
Say that question again, Mataji.
What's the equivalent of a chariot in the modern times?
Oh, cars.
The cars, right? And what is the equivalent of horses in a car?
Engine.
Engine.
Think about it. There were 4 horses.
Oh, gas.
Oh,
Yes.
4.
the wheels.
The wheels, exactly.
Oh.
Right. So when you get a car, you get the wheels also, right? So similarly, when you get a chariot, you will get the wheels you will get the horses also with them, right? And so they were horses, and the horses had some names, So the names they were called Sugriva, Megha Pushpa, Balahaka, and Shabya, and I will post it on the WhatsApp group later.
Yes.
But just not to disturb the flow of the conversation here. So they were, and then of course they could go through to the heavens, etc. Now, and then of course Arjuna starts fighting, and then he starts going around the forest with his thing, and says, Agni, okay, you come here. And when Agni comes, then Arjuna starts to Indra starts to pour the rain, but then Arjuna is able to shoot his arrows so that the arrows cover the entire forest, so the Indra's rain cannot fall into the forest, and then Agni is able to do that. Now, but when he sees all these things, actually, Indra gets happy in the end. And why do you think Indra gets happy?
Because Arjuna is his son.
Arjuna is his son, right? So every father likes to see his son excel, right? So that's what it is. Now, a couple of things also I'd like to mention here in the 2 minutes that we have left. So he says, Madhava Pandavas Jaiva, right? So Madhava and Pandava. He did not say Krishna and Arjuna, right? He's saying Madhava and Pandava.
Goddess of fortune, he wanted to emphasize that where the goddess of fortune is where Krishna is, and wherever they both are there, victory is there.
There, right? Because fortune will come from victory, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And why did he say Pandavas? Why did he not say Arjun?
Because
Madhava
all five
and
were there.
Say that again.
Because all 5 brothers were there, Pandavas.
No. Here he's saying Madhava Pandavas Jaiva Divyo Shankho Pradadmatau. So he's talking about blowing the conch shells. So all the Pandavas are not blowing the conch shells at this time. It's only
Son of Pandu. Is that why?
Yeah. But why not Arjuna? Madhava Arjunas Jaiva. Like that. It's just for poetic effect. I was just it's just for making it beautiful poetry. So Madhava Pandavas Jaiva, like that, not calling them either of them by their direct names, like that. Okay, then one of you had commented that you noticed that their shells were transcendental. That was very good observation. And why do you think? I mean, we can understand Krishna's conch shell being transcendental, but why was his transcendental? Transcendental is transcendental. It's not, you have to keep in mind the difference between transcendental and celestial, right? Celestial is within this material world, but you're going to a heavenly planet. So the chariot is celestial. Why? Because it's coming from Agni, a demigod has given. And where can it move? It can move in the various up and down the planetary system, up and down this universe. It can
All
go
the
here
4 directions.
right? But here we are talking about conch shells, right? We're talking about conch shells that are transcendental. So why are we talking about transcendental? Why is Arjuna's shank transcendental, right? It's a very interesting, see how Sanjay is using the words and how knowledgeable Sanjay is. And we just think that he's a chariot driver, he's an assistant, he's a secretary, like that. I mean, these are very exalted souls. So when people come in the Krishna Leela, they are not ordinary men. Now, later on in Bhagavad-gita, you will learn that whatever is utilized in the service of the Lord, that becomes transcendental. So Arjun was using this conch shell in the service of the Lord, in the service of Krishna, because it's, after all, Krishna wants to have this war, right? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. So this whole Mahabharata was Krishna's mastermind. He wanted that to happen. But the question will be that, yes, we know that Arjun was helping Krishna, but then this is just few slokas before he'll start lamenting. I don't want to fight the war, this, that. So why are we saying that his conch shell, why do we even think that he's serving Krishna's person? Because he doesn't even know at this point in time. From our perspective, he doesn't even know. But the reality is, and I keep on every day I keep on mentioning this again and again, is that we have to remember that this is a Leela of Krishna. This entire thing, Mahabharata, Bhagavad-gita inside, is all Krishna's Leelas. It's a big drama that is being staged. So Arjuna is, you might think that Arjuna is an illusion. Arjuna will never get into illusion. He is what is called as a Nitya Siddha. Nitya Siddha are, there's Nitya Siddha, Nitya Baddha. So eternally liberated and eternally conditioned.
Conditioned.
So eternally doesn't mean forever. Keep that in mind, because otherwise it'll have a negative effect on you early in the morning. So nitya baddha means that we have been conditioned for a very long time. And nitya siddha is that, they're always siddha. They will never fall down. That's that category of people. So Arjuna belongs to that category of person. So when he's coming here with Krishna, he is already helping Krishna. He's taken birth here to help Krishna. And every activity he does, including going into delusion and illusion, is also his service to Krishna, because if he had not gone into that state of mind, then Bhagavad-gita would not have been spoken for our benefit like that. So that is why his Shankha is known as is transcendental like that. Okay. Any other passing comments on this before we call it a day?
Mataji.
Can you?
Okay, Barsha
you
Mataji, go ahead.
Mataji, kindly tell me Nitya Baddha once again.
Yeah, Nitya Baddha is eternally conditioned. Like I am eternally conditioned for a very long time. Eternally conditioned means I keep on coming into this material world. I just move from one planet to another planet, one country to another country. That's
Shraddha, so what happened to Takshak? Because he was living in the forest.
Very good question. Wow, somebody was listening to the story attentively. So with Takshak, the thing is that, by the way, Varshana, I just noticed that, sorry about that your friend, the other Varshana has joined the call on Zoom.
Yes. She
Welcome,
just
Varshana.
sent the message.
So now we've got 2 Varshanas on the call. Varshana Mataji, can you say something? Haribol? Maybe she's on mute.
Yeah,
Maybe.
she's on mute.
Okay, yeah. So so the thing was, here's an interesting thing, that Takshak had gone away somewhere. So Takshak was not there in the forest at that time. So Takshak doesn't get killed, because the question will be that if Takshak gets killed over there, then how does Takshak, come later? Yeah, come later like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Mataji.
So Varsha Mataji is saying that, yeah, she's watching us actually on YouTube. The other Varshana. Varshana 2, Varshana 1, Varshana 2. Yeah. So she is, she's watching us. She's listening to the lecture. So good. Welcome, Mataji. We just wanted to hear your voice.
Mataji, the line that Arjun was using the conch shell means I couldn't finish the line. So what should I write there? Means he was using the conch shells of Krishna's.
In Krishna's service.
Okay.
In service of Krishna, because he was, enacting out this whole play.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, Mataji.
In
Thank you,
service of
Mataji.
Krishna. Yeah. You're welcome. Okay, so should we call it a day here today on this call? It's 7:35. You have offices to go to. Okay, Vanchikalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev patitanam pavnebhyo
Vaishnavevayo namo
Guru
namaha.
Premanande, Hari Hari.
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you so much for joining the call. Those of you who are on the Zoom call with me here, as well as those of you who are watching us on Facebook or on YouTube. Thank you so much. Dandat Pranam from today to tomorrow. We'll meet again. And for those of you who take the other Bhagavad Gita class, we will be meeting at 6 p.m. my time, which will be 6:30 a.m. on Wednesday for those of you who are joining us from India. And that will also be broadcast on Zoom, but there are other methods also. You can join on a phone call, etc. If you're interested, and let me know. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Be safe.
I'll join on Zoom, Mataji, tomorrow.
All righty. Wonderful.
Thank